Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Real Estate. It's that simple on KHTS 1220 AM and 98.1 FM, and on Facebook Live. We can wave up there. Facebook Live, how you doing? I am your friend in the real estate business, Phil Nordella, and as usual, we have a full show,
which is awesome.
It's amazing. You know, maybe we should go to maybe 2 hours.
I'm thinking, like, my mind is like running. Yes, I actually could definitely find content for 2 hours.
By the way,
I love it.
You're listening also to Taylor Williams-Moniz.
Correct.
I love that. Do we pronounce the hyphen too? Do we say hyphen Moniz?
You don't have to say hyphen.
Never?
No, it's obnoxious. I know. I'm sorry.
No. I just want to know what the rules are. You know, I don't want to be sued.
Taylor Williams-Moniz is perfect.
I love it. Taylor, as you know, is with Donahoe, Young & Williams, and she is also the president of the Santa Clarita Valley Bar Association. And also, who else do we have here? Let's look around the room.
Our favorite friend, Patrick.
Who? Me?
Patrick.
Hey, it's me.
It's classier, isn't it, if I say Patrick?
Patricio.
Oh.
Patrice.
Whoa, get out of
Wow.
town.
You could have done that.
Hey, how about this?
What's up?
I'm Philip Roger, because my middle name's Roger, but if you say it like that, it sounds almost like Philip Roger.
Philip Roger, first of his name.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, pip, pip.
I love the Game of Thrones.
And we have Taylor Williams-Moniz. You know what? We're all, I don't know, we're special, I think.
I actually
We are
add
special.
my middle name in if you want to make it that much
Finley?
more annoying. Taylor Finley Williams-Moniz. Yeah, I know.
Taylor Finley Williams Moniz,
Well, guess
first of her name.
Definitely first of her name.
First of her long name.
I'm thinking that maybe we should wear a tux next week.
I think so.
I think so, too.
I mean, I have a jacket at home. I could do it.
I'm into it. I love it. Well, it's nice
Hey.
to be back in the studio.
It is.
After last week.
It is, and I need to know, how's Triple G doing? Oh, wait, congratulations on your 14th day anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, so far so good. I think I've only argued with him once about doing the dishes, which he actually does the dishes. I don't. So I feel like that's, things are going well. So
That's
yeah,
really
that's
good.
He's well. He's flying, which is great. So yeah. so
Yeah, I
far,
wanted
so
to talk to you
good.
about that, because I'm concerned.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So he flies, right? And he gets and he goes
As
and he
pilots
plays.
do.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he flies, yeah. And is he going to actually get a job? Because, flying for him, he would probably do for free. You know that, right?
He loves it.
Is there plans in the future for him to actually get a job that he's not enjoying so much?
So just so you know, he's listening and he's probably like, I have a job. So, babe, don't listen to Phil.
You know what? My son has got his pilot's license. He flies little airplanes. And I got to tell you something. He would fly all day, every day for free if he can. So I'm just thinking the Triple G's got a great job. And I'm just jealous.
No, completely. He absolutely loves it. I mean, I love my job. We both are very lucky to do what we like. Unfortunately, he does have a wife that he now has to contribute toward. So,
Contribute towards.
the income is helpful. So I'm not suggesting he should get another job. So, no, we'll table that for
Well, I
right
just
now.
don't think that's right to have him be able to do what he loves for a living. I mean,
don't you
none of
do?
us.
I do.
Oh, well, okay, I do too.
I know. I'm like, wait a minute. You love what you do.
I actually do.
Well, if he decides to get into real estate, I'll have him send you his CV. We can go
nice.
from there. Yeah.
When you talk to him next, tell him I did show up on the friends and family thing to 3 different airports saying, I know Triple G and I want to fly for free, and nothing. Nothing. It was like crickets.
I will tell him that, but obviously you need to go through me. I'll make it happen.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, that's the way.
I love that. That's awesome. Hey, you know what? We've got some exciting things to go off
We
of, but
do.
right now, I think we need to go to the numbers.
SCV by the numbers.
Yay! Okay. Hey, listen.
That was good, Patrick.
That was good. You know what,
Yeah.
Patrick? When we're in the studio, you are nailing it.
So
I
much
love
better.
that. It's a lot easier.
What can I say?
when
I
we're
try.
From we're miles and miles away. Okay, new listings. Hey, you know what? These numbers seem to be boring. I mean, it's like 285 when it came to new listings last week, 292 this week, active under contract and pending. 688 last, 706 now.
So not much change.
No, it really isn't. And close in the last 30 days, however, has gone down. It went from 441 to 419. And when I talk about the Santa Clarita Valley, whenever we talk about that, obviously that's Valencia, Canyon Country, Saugus, Acton, Newhall, Castaic, Agua Dulce, and Stevenson Ranch. Now, as far as the numbers go for Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial, who is terrific, and
Our
you should call her
favorite.
if you need anything.
Definitely.
In fact, she has my package now for doing my refi.
Oh, that's great.
Yep, and I don't know how much time it's going to take, but I think that they've slowed down a little bit, so I'm thinking that it's going to be soon, hopefully.
That's great.
Purchase loans only. Purchase loans only, full doc, 2 3/4, still with no points for 30-year, conforming conventional. And conforming conventional is up to $510,400.
Right.
And I think, did we talk about it before? It makes no sense how they actually came up with these different prices on what the breakoff is.
You know what? An attorney probably did it.
Can it be 510,000? Does it have to be 4? Now, how about this? How about high balance conventional, which are at 3% with no points? That's from 510,401 to 765,600.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this category has seen the best improvement recently. It was 3 1/4 with 0.5% a few weeks ago. So that has come down, which is awesome.
That is
now,
great.
Jumbo loans are 3 3/4 with 1 point. Okay, for jumbo loan, and that's above 765,500. If you're in the jumbo category, she says you may want to consider an adjustable rate mortgage to save tons. The 7-1 ARM is at 3 1/4 with 3/4 of a point.
Okay. And I think that's most of what we're dealing with here in Santa Clarita predominantly, right? Are the jumbo loans. So that's something to think about.
Actually, a lot of the not really, because
okay.
our average, our
Wrong
average
for once in my life.
is
Oh my
about.
gosh.
No, alert the media. No, actually, I think the average sales price now is $685. If you're putting 10% down, you're going to be
Oh, okay, so you're just underneath it. So,
exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're high balance conventional.
Got it.
Okay, so special note on all loans she's got down here. Due to the complexity of the new self-employed guidelines, most lenders have higher rates for self-employed versus wage earners. Plus, special notes on refinances. Regarding the Fed's 0.5 point additional fee for refis, it is already in place for most lenders. Refis are definitely 0.125 higher in rate than purchase loans. FHA, purchase and refi, 2 1/4 to 2.5 plus PMI, obviously,
Right.
for FHA, and no PMI for a VA,
The VA loans, yeah. Those
which
are
is
great.
incredible. So
Yeah.
thank you, Marla, from Augusta Financial.
I know.
Give her a
absolutely.
call. Okay, so
So I have a thought. I know we're going to do, don't play it yet, Patrick, but we're
Yeah,
going to do
please.
in the news later. But
Yeah.
I saw something yesterday that I'm actually really interested about, and you and I talked about this briefly, so I'm just going to get in there and tell me your thoughts, because this is about Zillow. And we're hearing that they're opening its own brokerage. So we deal with Zillow all the time, in terms of looking at, real estate values, comps, things like that. But the word on the street was they were never going to open a brokerage, and now that apparently is changing. And I can tell, I feel like the steam coming from you right now.
Well-
so what's the good word?
I just hate when things are so obvious and you try to tell people it's so obvious, and then they were like, well, no, it's not going to happen because the company said it wasn't going to happen. Then it happens, and it just upsets me. And
Okay.
let me explain.
Yeah, walk through it.
Okay,
for
so
us.
Zillow was a company that was brilliant, right? They said, you know what, we're going to go to the MLSs, we're going to actually buy some of the information from the MLSs, and then we're going to start this humongous website, and we're going to advertise it, and people are going to come to us for information about these listings.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Well, that information, the realtor actually pays the MLS to take the information. The MLS then sells it, so they're double dipping. The
Got it.
MLS then sells it to Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and Zillow started this humongous portal that said, if you want information, come to us. Zillow's estimates. If you want to know anything, if you
Zestimate,
want to have
yep.
access
Yep.
on the MLS, everything's fine. And so they gather all of these people that contact them, and they are leads. Okay, they turn into leads. These are people that are interested in buying or selling homes.
I've done it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How dare you? No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
No,
It was
it's
before
okay.
I met
It's
you.
okay. Let me tell you. Okay, all right, good. You haven't cheated since. That's a good thing.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's the situation, though. What they do now is they turn around and they sell those leads to the realtors. Okay, so the realtors pay to put them in the MLS, and then they pay to get leads from the things that they paid to get to the MLS. So it's crazy. However, because they were one of the first ones to do it, Zillow became worth, I don't know how many billions of dollars,
Right.
because if you've got 2 million agents and they're paying you anywhere from $100 to $10,000 a month,
Wow.
you're gonna build something.
Definitely.
Now, here's the interesting thing. The running joke was eventually Zillow's going to start their own brokerage.
Right. I'd heard that before as well.
Yep.
But they'd always said no.
Zillow says, you have to understand, we have no interest in actually selling real estate. We just don't have it. You know, that we're going to be loyal to our partners, our realtor partners,
Right.
And everybody's going, you don't understand, kids. Every time you pay them for leads, you're just building this behemoth that's going to eventually step on you.
Right. That's
So,
Very large database, yeah. And website, which, again, we use all the time.
so according to Inman, Zillow to hire agents as employees for iBuyer transactions. Now, what does that mean? First thing is now they are their own brokerage.
Right.
Okay. Second thing is we have to bring into the iBuyers, because this is Zillow dipping their toe in the water. They're not saying we're a brokerage, we're going to sell everything, and you guys are out of
Exactly.
luck,
Right.
because they want to keep those agents giving them money. So they've got a fine line here. They've got to actually say on half of it, we're actually going to start hiring some employees to work on the iBuyers. And remember, if you're listening, that we've gone through iBuyers before. An iBuyer is a company that will go out and advertise by saying, do you want to sell your home? Would you like to get a fair price? Would you like to be paid cash? Would you like to not have to pay any commissions or any fees or any repairs? Would you like to not have to clean up your house? Would you like to not have to have people going through your house, especially in a pandemic? Let us know, because we'll buy your house and close it immediately.
Right.
Well, that sounds terrific, right?
It does with the fair price, like you said, in quotations.
Fair
right,
price.
based on,
In fact, I was just listening, driving in here. I just heard an advertising. We're going to give you a fair price. And this is not a lowball offer. We're going to give you a fair price. And I'm yelling at the radio going, liar, liar.
See, and I'm listening to that, like, do it, and then contact my law firm, because fair price is so ambiguous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they followed it up with, we're not going to lowball you.
Right.
Okay.
Which, again,
So then, your $700,000 house, they come out and they say, well, we're going to give you our fair price at $640,000. And you're like, what? No.
Yeah.
Not even $600,000. If it's a $700,000 house.
I was about to say, I think it would be way less than that.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
If it was an $800,000 house and they came out and they said, we give you $640,000.
Yeah.
Because people have to understand that they're going to sell it for the profit that you have in it.
Right.
Right? They're the ones that are going to take that profit, and you're going to actually believe the fact that maybe you did get a fair price. You don't have to do any of those things. You don't have to pay commissions. Nobody wants to pay commissions, right?
Right.
So back to Zillow. Zillow is saying, we're not going to sell homes. We're just going to actually hire some realtors as employees. And if anybody calls us on the iBuyer platform, which is called Zillow Offers.
Okay.
If anybody calls us off of that, then we're going to send out one of our employee realtors, and then if they can work it out, that's great.
Interesting.
Oh, by the way, if they work it out and we take the property, when we resell the property, we're going to use those same people. So they're automatically setting it up by saying, guess what? We're not only going to be buying some of these things through our realtors, we're going to be selling them through our realtors. And anybody else that's out there, if you want to make any money on any of our deals, then you bring the buyer when we resell it.
Interesting.
And so they're dipping their toe in,
Right.
saying, guess what? We're going to jump in the deep end shortly.
It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. You know,
It's kind of fun.
reputation-wise, legal-wise.
Yeah, let's see. So it says Samuelson, which is one of their chief, his name's Errol Samuelson. He's
Okay.
Zillow Group's Chief Industry Development Officer. He's got down here, Samuelson was clear. I mean, this guy was clear in a conversation with Inman that the move is solely for the Zillow offer segment of the company's business, and Zillow will not be wading into the traditional real estate brokerage space to represent consumers in the traditional home buying and selling process. Some agents have previously criticized the company for holding a broker's license. That's a bold-faced lie. And it kind of cracks me up. He goes, I think we've been pretty clear that Zillow offers is about a different kind of transaction, a different way to buy or sell. It's really great for, let's see, they've been really clear when it comes to traditional transactions. We're partnering with our premier agents when it comes to traditional transactions. It says Zillow isn't fully ending its relationship with local brokerages that signed on to represent Zillow in its home buying and selling transactions. Those brokerages will continue to get often coveted seller leads if a consumer decides not to take Zillow's all-cash offer. What was that? You don't need to say it, but what did I write underneath there?
That it was written by a lawyer?
And so
I can't say that word in good conscience, so no.
Well, I had to write it. I know I can't say it, but it's another word for saying baloney.
Yes.
And it's baloney. So
we'll have to keep following that and see what happens.
Yeah, they're funding the agents now that are still premier partners with them trying to get leads are funding the behemoth. And it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing, but what can you do?
Very interesting, and we'll keep following it, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you know what? I think I cannot wait.
I'm excited.
Because we've got so much to do right now. We are going to go to our first break, and stay tuned because this is going to be exciting. I'm not even going to tease it. Just
Special
stay tuned.
guest, stay tuned.
Yep.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
Let's talk about insurance. Are your rates skyrocketing year after year? Or do you feel like you would benefit from a professional advisor that works for you? Give the great team at Voy Insurance Solutions a call. Voy works with dozens of the best insurance companies to help you obtain competitive rates and comprehensive coverage. Homeowners, auto, business, and life insurance. Voy Insurance. Right price, right coverage, right now. Mention the Phil Nordella Show and get a free $10 Starbucks card. Visit voyinsurance.com. That's voinsurance.com.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of homeownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and top knowledge to help make your loan experience hassle-free. Given her honesty, integrity, and attention to detail, she is the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get you the best loan, the best rate, and the best service in the industry. You'll find Marla Ferris at Marla, FERRIS.com.
Donahoe, Young & Williams is your award-winning go-to law firm for all real estate matters, including the changing legal landscape due to COVID-19. In addition, Donahoe, Young & Williams can help you create an estate plan that accomplishes your wishes, protects you and your family, and avoids time-consuming and expensive California probate. If you've been financially devastated by the pandemic, Donahoe, Young & Williams can help with debt negotiation and, when needed, bankruptcy under Chapters 7, 11, and 13. Visit Taylor Williams at dywlaw.com.
My name is Frank. I'm the proud owner and operator of Braveheart Termite and Pest Control. I've been doing this for over 25 years. Call me for your termite needs and concerns. If you're in real estate and need a quality home inspection, call me today. You'll have those reports same day or within 24 hours. I will help you solve your issue with what needs to be done and nothing extra. Call me so you can have freedom from termites. 661-373-2617. That's 373-2617.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Hey, okay, welcome back to Real Estate. It's that simple. on KHTS 1220 AM and 98.1 FM, and on Facebook Live. I am your friend in the real estate business, Phil Nordella. And you know what? Taylor Williams-Moniz?
Yes.
We have a special guest.
I know,
I've
so
been a special
excited.
guest. I mean, I'm excited. I'm actually nervous.
Don't
So
be
you're going to
nervous.
have to introduce him.
Don't be nervous. So I will definitely introduce him. So right now we have on the line my partner in our Valencia office, Mr. Mark Young, who is incredible. I have lots of questions and things to go through with him, and I've been asking him to be on the show forever, and he's insanely busy, so I definitely appreciate his time.
Yay, thank you.
I know. So just a little background about Mark. He is one of the founding partners of Donahoe and Young, now Donahoe, Young, and Williams. Sorry, Mark, I'm going to mention this, but he's been a member of the California Bar for over 40 years.
Whoa.
He's a longtime Santa Clarita resident. He's also one of the founders of Bridge to Home, which is the nonprofit organization out here that operates homeless services. He's just an awesome guy. Between you, me, the wall post, and everyone else listening, I refer to him as my work husband.
Oh.
Sorry, Greg. But we're super excited to have him on the show. So, Mark, are you here?
I am here, Taylor.
Perfect.
Yay!
Was that a good intro? Was I nice enough?
It was a terrific introduction. You left out one part. I have been a lawyer for 40 years now. Of course, I started when I was 7.
Oh, sorry.
So
I forgot
right.
that.
I didn't
forgot
want you to
that
think as
part.
old as I am. Okay.
Thank you. You're right.
Yeah.
I forget that part. So, part of the reason, other than Mark is great practitioner and awesome to talk to, but why I wanted to bring him in is, as you guys know, our firm does a lot of real estate work. We also handle bankruptcy matters as well. So, not to be doom and gloom, but there's been a lot of significant changes in the bankruptcy law, and that affects real estate law. So, I thought Mark is the perfect person to kind of bring him in to talk about some of these changes. And Phil, obviously, as you have questions, just chime in. But Mark, you and I were speaking about changes to the homestead exemption, which obviously is governed by
That's
bankruptcy, but affects real estate law. So first of all, just to start, you and I know what a homestead exemption is, but just for our listeners, can you kind of explain the background and what exactly a homestead exemption is?
Yeah, every state, well, pretty much every state. California has had a homestead law since, 1970 something. Actually, before that, it was in a different section of the Civil Code by that time. But it's a mechanism by which a homeowner, somebody who lives in real property, and the real property can be a single-family home, it can be a condo, it can be a mobile home that's attached to the land, it can be a lot of different things, but it has to have some kind of connection to the land. They can protect a portion of their equity in that home from most creditors. I say most because there are two notable exceptions to the homestead law, which don't protect equity from domestic support orders, child custody orders, and so forth, child support orders, and of course they don't protect it from federal taxes. The homestead does protect equity from state taxes and local taxes, but not federal taxes. But the amount of the homestead exemption is what the breaking news is.
Yeah, that's the interesting
1 week
part,
ago
yeah.
today, 1 week ago today, Governor Newsom signed a statute or an amendment to the statute to increase the amount of the homestead exemption significantly. Up until, the amount of the current exemption remains in effect until January 1st. Then on January 1st, it changes. The current exemptions range from $75,000 for anybody who owns a home, or $100,000 if there is another person who is a dependent residing with them in the home, or $175,000 if the person is 65 years of age or older, 55 years of age and on limited income, or is disabled. So that's the three levels of homestead exemption presently.
So
they've been the
Mark,
same since 2009.
Mark, because just an aside, because you're 47, you wouldn't qualify for any of those high number exemptions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, my secret is out here. So these are the current exemptions, and they've been the same for 11 years. Meanwhile, home values have significantly increased since right after this 2009 amendment was passed, and home values sunk. So effective January 1st, do you want to know what the new limits are?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you'll blow your socks off. Okay. Everybody, first of all, the requirements for dependents in the home, 65 or older, all of that is out the window. All right. Now the exemptions are flat for everybody, whether you're married, single, have no kids, 10 kids, whatever. It doesn't matter. The base exemption is $300,000 of equity.
Holy cow.
Which means you can have $300,000 of equity, which can be shielded from your creditors. And the maximum exemption is $600,000. In between the two, it depends on the median home value in your county, which means that here in Los Angeles County, where the median home value is about $665,000, the exemption is the maximum, $600,000. However, in neighboring Kern County, where the median home value is only $242,000, the exemption is $300,000. So it depends on what county you're in for the amount of the exemption.
Exactly. And that's something, obviously, our firm can help people figure out. But so let's say, Mark, that I buy a home. Should I file some sort of homestead declaration? I mean, we're talking about creditors, which is in a bankruptcy context, which we'll get to, because I know Phil actually has some interesting questions about that. But if I buy a home, should I file a homestead declaration? Talk to us about that and kind of how that works.
Yeah, homestead exemptions are declared or automatic. The declared homestead is where you file in the county recorder's office a declaration of homestead, and it has to state certain facts, namely that you have an interest in the real property, an ownership interest, and that you reside at the property and intend to continue to reside at the property. You then record that, and that is what we in the law call prima facie evidence that the homestead is valid. So in any subsequent legal proceeding where a creditor seeks to go after your equity, you have the leg up. They have the burden of proof to show that your homestead is invalid versus you having to show that your homestead is valid. So I would recommend that anybody who has a home or is buying a home, as quickly as you reasonably can, record a declaration of homestead. There's no downside to it.
Right.
It's a very minimal cost, and you never know when you're going to have a huge liability. I mean, you could run over. I say the nightmare is you have good insurance, but then you hit a young neurosurgeon in the crosswalk. Okay.
That's going to be for another show.
What are you going to?
We'll get there.
Yeah. That liability is going to be millions. Right. It's going to be millions. Wouldn't you like to be able to keep some of the equity in your home away from that judgment?
Definitely.
And yeah, you can do that.
Good. Well, good advice. So everybody, if you guys are just joining us, like I mentioned, we are joined with Mark Young, my partner in our Valencia office, one of the partners of Donahoe, Young & Williams, who again has over 40 years of legal experience, even though we've established that he started when he was 7. But we are picking his brain as to the legal landscape regarding real estate, bankruptcy, and beyond. So I actually kind of want to get into the hybrid of the real estate and bankruptcy. But Phil, do you have anything you want to chime in with?
Yeah, actually, you did the deep dive on this thing, which is terrific, and it's good but I'll tell you something. I don't know that much about this.
Right.
I mean, because realistically, I've got as a realtor, we're actually made to where you don't actually go into anything legal, and anytime anything comes up like this, it's always recommend to call the professional, which is a good thing. So I've actually got two clients right now that I'm dealing with. One actually filed Chapter 13, and they're in the middle of it, and I'm selling their house. And a couple of questions that I had, and this is kind of a simple question because you were so thorough with what you were talking about. I feel like this is a stupid question.
No.
When I get an offer on this property, it's going to have to go back to court, and they're going to have to, accept it, and then I guess somehow, some way, they're going to work out making sure that through escrow everybody's paid. Approximately how long does that take nowadays? If I get an offer, and because it's tied up in Chapter 13, some of the agents are asking me, look, it's a bankruptcy thing. Is it going to take like a couple of months before we're going to hear anything on this, or what? Do you have any idea?
I would say it would take at least, the minimum notice period for regular notice is 21 days, so it's going to take at least 21 days. And it might take a month or maybe 2 if there is an objecting creditor. Whenever a house is sold during a Chapter 13 or a Chapter 11 for that matter, the debtor has to show how the creditors are at least not being harmed. And if the house sale is going to pay off all the creditors are benefited. So that should satisfy the requirements of the court.
Yeah, they were saying that when I got out there, they were saying, okay, so we've got it lined up through the court and everything, and this is how much everybody's owed. And then all they're waiting for now is, this is what they're telling me at least, all they're waiting for now is just an offer on the house to where we can actually take care of all of those things. So that's not great news. It's going to take 21
Yeah,
days.
there is a simpler way to do it, but it's risky.
Oh.
The simpler way would be just for the person in the Chapter 13 to dismiss their case. Chapter 13 is the only kind of a bankruptcy that can be dismissed by the debtor at any time. The reason why, well, that could be faster, and then the house could sell without having to get court approval.
Right.
But then if for any reason at all the sale is delayed or falls out, then they're back in the soup. So I don't often recommend dismissal of a case just to get an asset sold.
Got it.
Did you have a second question?
I did. I've got somebody else that actually is getting ready to list with me. They actually filed Chapter 7, but a long time ago. And so I went and ran their title, and they still had a $25,000 lien from somebody that they thought was cured with the Chapter 7. And when he called the company to see if they couldn't figure out just exactly why it wasn't taken off, that company isn't even in business. So,
Mark, I'm laughing because Mark and I have dealt with many a situation like this.
So now we've got to see if we can't cure that. So I guess with the title company, will we need someone like you to actually help get that off of there, or what happens there?
You might. First of all, what I would do is you've already done due diligence to try to track this creditor down.
Yeah.
And if unclaimed property, including what are called choses in action, like liens and encumbrances, at a certain point is cheat to the state. They become property of the state of California. So you might end up having to deal with the controller's office to get rid of that lien.
So yes, call us.
My recommendation would be that we need to. This is something I ought to work with the title insurance company, because ultimately, whatever we do has to get the blessing of the title insurance carrier to make any practical difference. So I often say, look, I will outline what I want to work, and then I want them to say, yeah, that'll do it, before I go ahead and do it. And then they say, no, we want this other thing.
Yeah. We usually talk, like he said, title company first, get their blessing so that we're not double, triple, quadruple doing work.
Right.
So, yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that.
I know, Mark. So one other thing.
You're welcome.
I was going to ask you, which we kind of are a little bit backwards. So for people listening, we're talking about a 7, a Chapter 13, obviously Chapter 11, which I don't think we need to go into. But for those listeners that did not go to law school, could you give us kind of the brief, Bill's raising his hand, breakdown of sort of the difference of 7 and 13, but then also in the landscape of, let's say that I own a piece of real property and it has equity. Why would I file a 7 opposed to a 13?
Well, you would file a 7 if you intend to continue to own the property and your equity is exempt, which now, with the new exemptions coming into effect January 1st, there'll be a lot more people who would otherwise really have to consider doing a Chapter 13 to keep their home, who will be able to file Chapter 7 and discharge their unsecured debt.
Right. Because
that exemption has just gone up from typically $100,000 to now at least $300,000, maybe $600,000. Right. So the equity that they would otherwise lose, they won't lose. They'll just be able to get through their Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is what's commonly called straight liquidation, which means that you list all your assets and all your debts and what we were just talking about, exemptions. The trustee collects all of the non-exempt assets and liquidates them, sells them, to do two things. Number one, generate a fund to pay the creditors, and number two, to generate the trustees' commissions.
Exactly.
The trustees are essentially mercenaries. They make money when they sell assets. So when somebody has non-exempt equity in a house, that's the trustee's dream come true.
Right.
The trustee would love to sell a house and give you your check for $100,000 and pocket the rest or distribute the rest of the creditors. Chapter 13 is what's commonly called a wage earner plan, and that is where you make payments over a period of at least 3, maybe up to 5 years, which must meet several tests. One of the tests is that you have to pay your creditors at least as much as they would have received in a Chapter 7.
So a creditor can't be, they have to be better off in a 13 than a 7, correct?
Or at least no worse off.
Exactly.
At least no worse off.
There you go.
And the other requirement for Chapter 13 is that you exercise your best efforts. You have to continue to earn money as best as you can and apply those future earnings to pay your creditors.
Nice.
Those are the two major requirements in Chapter 13.
So let me just throw another lucky number in there. Chapter 11. I've heard of that one too. You want as long as we're going down.
Chapter 11 is reorganization, and it's designed for businesses. Individuals can use it. There are numerous requirements in Chapter 11 for individuals that essentially track those in Chapter 13. But Chapter 11 has more flexibility than Chapter 13.
It's also much more complicated. Next, when we get our 2-hour show, I'll have Mark come back on and we'll talk for 40 minutes about Chapter 11.
So now I know when you have a foreclosure and everything, how long basically it's going to hit your credit. If you actually have one of these 7, 13, 11, 65 hike,
right.
what are the ramifications when it comes to being able to go out and buy a home and everything after you've actually filed? And are there different times for different chapters?
Well, pretty much all the time limits run from when you get your discharge. The discharge is the end goal of a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 11 or a Chapter 13. So those time limits really run from the discharge, which is your walk away from the unsecured debt. And lenders vary. Some lenders will fund a loan for somebody who's just received their discharge, but they can prove sufficient income and meet the other requirements. Other lenders will make you wait 2, 3, 4 years. The bankruptcy will stay on your credit for 10 years from the time that you file, stay on your credit report, but the impact of it diminishes over time. So somebody who has just received their discharge, in a sense, they're a good credit risk because they can't file a bankruptcy for another 8 years, and they don't have any unsecured debt. So many lenders will recognize that and treat them as a good credit risk because of those factors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories, not involving real estate. I'm sorry, this is a real estate show, but this is one of my favorite stories.
That's all right.
About a guy who had a restaurant up here in the Santa Clarita Valley, and he had the great foresight to open it right when the market was crashing and the recession hit and nobody was eating out. So we did Chapter 7 for him. During the course of the case, he got a terrific job at a hotel, being the food and beverage manager for a major hotel downtown. And he started commuting from Santa Clarita to downtown in his old Suburban. And he came to me and complained. He said, "Mark, you know what? This is a great job, but the gas is eating me alive. But nobody will sell me a car." I said, "Well, yeah, you're right, because you're in Chapter 7. But here's what you do. Get your pay stub, and the day you get your discharge, go to the dealer." And that's what he did. We got his discharge. We emailed it to him. He got his pay stubs. He went into the Mercedes dealership here in town. Oh. They looked at it. He traded in the Suburban. He drove off in a new Mercedes that used about a third as much gas.
I was wondering if he was going to say what dealership, because I know this story. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, we have clients all the time, like I said, that think, oh gosh, for 10 years I won't be able to buy a piece of real property after bankruptcy, and no, that's not the case, like Mark said. So.
I knew one guy that I was talking to him, and this was a little bit upsetting, I'll be honest, because he told me, "I want to sell my house, and then I'm going to run up my credit cards, and I'm going to file BK." And I went, "Okay, that doesn't sound nice."
No. There's a lot of reasons you can't do that, quite frankly, which, yeah.
Yeah, there are all kinds of protections that creditors have against abusive cases.
Right.
Oh, good.
And that might
because
be
I didn't
that
think
sounds
that
like
was
an
nice.
abusive case.
Right. So I always joke with people, that the court will look back as to, what you spent your money on, or the trustee will, within the last 30, 60, at least 90 days. So, we don't go out and buy Louis Vuittons and Bentleys and then file bankruptcy. That's not the way that it works. So.
Oh.
So no one out there do that.
Let me
Heed our
make
advice.
a note of that because I was going to go shopping today. So, okay, stay away from the mall.
I know. Mark, so we have like a couple more minutes with you. So I just have one more quick question before we wrap it up. In terms of, COVID-19 and the landscape in business and everything changing, have you noticed any trends? And obviously I can answer this, but I think you should, just in terms of, our office and cases we have more of or less of, or, what's the legal landscape look like?
Well, I think what we have more of is bankruptcies, and we also have people who are in Chapter 13 plans who lost their job or suffered a reduction in hours, and therefore defaulted in their Chapter 13 plan payments, and we've had to modify plans in order to keep their cases alive. One of the great features of the CARES Act that was passed near the beginning of the COVID pandemic was that if you had a confirmed Chapter 13 plan, you could stretch it out beyond 5 years up to a maximum of 7 years to be able to defer payments and to reduce payments.
Right.
And we've done that in some cases. It helped out those people who, through no fault of their own, lost their income.
Right.
And we had one case that we just recently got it all approved, where the husband worked in the studio or worked as a driver for studios.
Oh, yeah.
And the wife worked as a sales clerk at the May Company, and they both lost their jobs at about the same time. No income.
Right.
They got unemployment, but it wasn't enough to be able to make their living expenses and their plan payments. So we got their plan extended, and he's now back at work. So
good.
Things are looking up.
Two other things that are actually on the rise, and you guys might want to start thinking of opening up a division. Divorces are on the rise because people are stuck at home with their spouses now, and all of a sudden they realize, I don't like that person.
I did some family law early in my career, and I prefer to stay out of that mess.
No.
And the other thing that's up
we have some
are,
good friends we refer that to.
Exactly.
The other thing that's up right now are dog bites. So if you've got like a division that you can handle,
We don't do that. See, I was going to say estate plans.
No.
Because a lot of people, which is actually true, a lot of people are thinking the world is ending. I want to get my estate plan in order. I want to get my real property in the name of a trust, right? We've had a lot of that, Mark. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a couple of reasons why people don't do. I mean, everybody kind of knows they should do their estate plan, but it's easy to put it off.
Exactly.
But then when there's a pandemic and you're in a heightened risk of getting something fatal.
Right.
Plus, maybe you have time on your hands. Maybe you're out of work and watching Oprah all day.
Mark, you and I
now you have time to do your estate plan.
You and I don't have time on our hands. So, but speaking of time, actually, I want to wrap it up and thank you so much for taking time to hang out with us and answer all these questions. So everyone knows how to get a hold of me, but after listening to you, they're probably going to want to call you rather than me. So if listeners want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Well, the best way would be to either call the office, and the phone number is area 661-259-9000.
It's easy enough.
259-9000, easy to remember.
Yep.
And the other way would be to go to our website and get the email address. The website is dywlaw.com.
Perfect.
So either of those two ways are the best way to reach me.
Mark, thank you for spending the time. We know that you're extremely busy, and this was awesome for you to do for us.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'll see you. I'll be in the office in like an hour. Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you, Taylor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. And
Okay.
we'll be right back, everybody.
Yes,
Stay
we
tuned
will.
with
Stay tuned.
In the News.
Woohoo!
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is a net from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets a net at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
My name is Frank. I'm the proud owner and operator of Braveheart Termite and Pest Control. I've been doing this for over 25 years. Call me for your termite needs and concerns. If you're in real estate and need a quality home inspection, call me today. You'll have those reports same day or within 24 hours. I will help you solve your issue with what needs to be done and nothing extra. Call me so you can have freedom from termites. 661-373-2617. That's 373-2617.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of homeownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and top knowledge to help make your loan experience hassle-free. Given her honesty, integrity, and attention to detail, she is the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get you the best loan, the best rate, and the best service in the industry. You'll find Marla Ferris at Marla, FERRIS.com.
Owning Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions.
Hey, Gary, anything new with you?
Bud, can you believe it? I just crushed my mortgage payment again with owning. But this is the last refi for me.
Why?
Because I got a 30-year fixed rate at 2.375%, 2.474 APR. Can you believe that?
Get your last mortgage refi from Owning. Just call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com and ask for your last refi at today's 30-year fixed 2.375%, 2.474 APR. That's 30-year fixed at 2.375%, 2.474 APR.
Why not get your last refi from Owning? You just got to call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Hey, okay, welcome back to Real Estate. It's that simple on KHTS 1220 AM and 98.1 FM and on Facebook Live. Woo-hoo. I'm your friend of the real estate business, Phil Nordella, and I'm here with the hostess with the mostest, Taylor Williams-Moniz.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Yep.
So, that was nice having Mark on.
I know. He's so smart. He's just a brain, and he's well-spoken, and he's just, he's fun.
He seems like he'd be fun to work with, too.
He is. We work hard, we play hard, so he's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
I like it.
Definitely. Okay, so Patrick, are you ready? Because this is my favorite part of the show, and we don't have a lot of time. So, in the news.
And now, in the news.
I like it. It's so serious.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so Phil, you and I had an entire list of topics to talk about, and then we found this gem this morning, and so I want to bring this up and ask you about it. We saw this on Inman. Stabbing of a property manager tied to a tenant's eviction at a luxury tower. It looks like this was in Seattle.
Yes.
So tell me what you know, and then let's chat about this.
We were talking about that when it came to the eviction moratorium and everything, and then we'll talk about that again in a second. But what happened here is in Seattle, obviously, the property manager was sent up to evict somebody and brought somebody with them, and I bet you they wish that they didn't go too. But
right.
During the eviction, the actual tenant stabbed both of them, and one of them died. Yeah, and that's and it's interesting here, and the reason why we bring it up is because we did talk about the eviction moratorium,
right.
And it says it here in Inman News, an eviction moratorium is currently in effect due to the coronavirus pandemic in Seattle, but some exceptions are made if public health and safety are in danger. It is not known how or whether the eviction fell into these categories, but neighbors said that that the notice had been hung on the door of the apartment and had since been removed.
Right. So this obviously speaks as to Seattle, not California or Los Angeles, but we have the same moratorium. However, if there is an issue with public health or safety that are in danger, then potentially an eviction can move forward. The problem is here are the 9 things that qualify, under that category. So the things that come to mind: illegal activity, elder abuse, domestic abuse, things like that. But again, it's not black and white, cut and dry. So, it's difficult. It's sad that happened. Obviously, no one wants to be evicted at this point,
Sure.
but
and it does get a little crazy out there because I used to sell foreclosures when I first got in. I've been licensed since '93.
Yep.
And in some of the times, I had to show up with the sheriffs, right? And this is what happens if they don't actually pay and you actually have to foreclose on them, you show up with the sheriff and with a locksmith.
Yep, exactly.
And I had to do that so many times, and it was the only time that I hated my job completely. Because, you'd knock, and I'd been to their house before multiple times saying, we'll give you cash for keys. And they're like, no, you don't understand. We've got it all taken care of. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, you don't, or I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And so, but I've had my life threatened. I mean, I had one lady look at me, and she goes, I will get you if it's the last thing I ever do. And I said, ma'am, you have to understand, I had nothing to do with this.
This isn't me. I'm just the messenger.
Exactly
Don't
right.
kill the
I mean,
messenger.
and it's one of those things to where it's, and so it's scary.
It is scary.
I had to foreclose. I didn't foreclose, but I had to represent the bank when it came to foreclosing to a heroin addict in one of our little areas out here, and I went to see him before. And the guy had hair down to his knees, and he was all pierced up, and he completely tatted. And I thought, this guy's going to kill me.
Right? Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
No.
No judgment zone, but
it's a little bit scary.
It is scary.
Anyway, we're going to have to save the
I know, my favorite story, but we'll save it for next week.
The doorknob article.
I want to talk about that.
We're going to tease the doorknob article for next week because it's incredible. So
it is good.
The other thing is next time we're actually, you know what? We don't even have time for that. How do we get a hold of you?
Like Mark said, 661-259-9000, dywlaw.com, and Phil.
And if you're thinking of listing or selling or buying or whatever, just do me a favor. Give me a call at 661-312-3561 or go to my website at philnordella.com.
Perfect.
Have a super weekend.
I know, you too. This is fun. I like being in the studio, so.
It's so much more
Awesome.
fun.
I totally agree. And thank you, Patrick, as always.
Patrick.
Of course.
It's Patrick.
Patrick. Excuse me.
Patrick.
My name still wins, you guys.
You do, yeah. It takes a half an hour to say it.
It does.
We're going to have to go to a 2-hour show if we're going to say your name every time that way.
I know.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you, everybody. Have a great weekend.